You guys have been an amazing audience, honestly. Like sitting for 5 hours on a Saturday. I mean, a round of applause for you guys. I was scared. I thought that I'd fall on this stage, but then I saw those two girls dance here. I was like, shit, if I had fall here, that would be embarrassing. But let me start with my journey. As a kid, I always wanted to start a startup. I mean, that's the only dream I had. I wanted to have a business of my own. I wanted to do something of my own. But then there was one obstacle. I did not come from a very rich family background. And to top it off, one more thing. I was from Kashmir. And most probably, COVID would have been a new thing for you guys to stay at home. But then honestly, it was not a new thing for me. In my 12 years of schooling, there were at least 4 or 5 years where I was completely stuck at home. So COVID was not an alien concept for me. But then I realized that I want to start a startup. So what did I do next? In class 10, I had my first startup idea. It was very simple. So basically what I did was I joined a gym and I decided that I'll make a good body. I'll get into good physique. And as you guys can see, I have abs now. I don't. So the first thing that I did was take a personal trainer. Why? Because a class 10th Murrad thought that if you have a personal trainer, maybe you can make your body quicker. Yeah, I did end up taking a personal trainer. And the first thing my personal trainer told me that the food that you're going to take is going to be 80% your body, and what you're going to do here in the gym is going to be 20%. And all of a sudden I was like, shit, yaar, I would have not lost my 3,000 bucks that I gave it to you. Those are the 3,000 bucks I'm not going to take back anytime soon. But then I realized that I was on to something. I had my first startup idea from here. And that idea was that we will be giving protein-rich food to people. Many of us want to join gyms, so we can give protein-rich food to people. So I went back home, told my mom that I want 120 grams of calories in my food every day. And her first reaction was, no, that's not possible. So I thought maybe we can provide this food to everyone at subsidized rates, and this can be a business idea. But at that time, in class 10th, I thought, wait, this requires money and I don't have money. And you think of it, if you want to start this startup, what are the expenses that you'll be having? The first expense you will have is of an industrial kitchen that would cost you 1,50,000. Then you would also need a nutritionist. The cheapest nutritionist I could have thought of at that time was 40,000 rupees. Utensils, food, delivery guy, marketing guy, so many other expenses. So ideally, I would have required 10 to 15 lakh rupees in class 10 to start my startup. And honestly, I did not have that money. So I did not start my startup at that time. Fast forward, I entered into college. I realized, okay, I had many ideas, but then none of them worked. Why? Because ideally someone would have already done those things. Ideally someone would have already implemented all those things. Or else I would have not had the money to start that thing. What did I do next? I realized, okay, maybe I can go towards the education side. I can learn, I can study, and then I can get a good high-paying job and then start a startup afterwards. That's what I did. So I ended up clearing amongst the toughest finance certifications all across the world at the youngest age. But then once I did all of those certifications, I realized in India, we do not have good trainers for these certifications. I mean, for international people, absolutely there are amazing trainers, but in India, we don't have good finance trainers. We have people who are of the age of 60, 65, but not good trainers who can teach today's concepts. So I started with a YouTube channel, thinking that I will be providing financial literacy. And all of a sudden, people actually enjoyed my content. And I thought, okay, maybe I'm on to something. So then I realized that I will start charging them money. How much should I charge them? So I decided, maybe I should start with 500 rupees. $6 to $7, that's it. I'll just charge $6 to $7. I was a 19-year-old kid. And soon, I had 20 students join my cohort. And you know the toughest thing for those 20 students was getting those 20 students. I mean, I was a 90-year-old kid calling a 32-year-old person, telling them that I am a bachelor's student, I have not completed my bachelor's, but then I can help you get a job in finance with the degree that I have done. Somehow I was able to convince 20 people that yeah, it's worth it. And they joined my journey. Then that 20 number became 100. 100 became 1,000. 1,000 became 10,000. And as of date, we have 60,000 students studying with us. And it's not only me now. We have trainers from all across the industry. leading experts from all across the industry training for us. We have the Vice President of Bank of New York, Mellon, teaching for us. We have trainers from Goldman Sachs teaching for us. And it's all amazing. But you know how much all of this started for? It all started with $30. That was the first investment that I made. A $30 investment in a pen and a tablet. That's it. I started with a $30 pen and India, a $10 domain. I made the website on my own. I did everything on my own, and I started with $40. That's it. That's all the money that was required to start this. And today it is valued over $1 million. And all of this just started because I changed my mindset. I used to think that to start a business, you need a lot of money. I used to think that to start a thing, you need to have a new idea. Honestly, that's not true. If you ask me in this business that I've made till now, what is the biggest regret that I have? I have one very big regret. And that single regret is, why did I not start the previous startup that I had in class 10? I mean, if I would have started that startup at that time, I would have had my class 10, 11, 12, first year and half of second year to do that thing. I could have done that startup. And the amount of things that I would have learned in those 4 years would have been amazing. The amount of money that I would have made in those 4 years would have been amazing. The only thing stopping me at that time was this. It wasn't money. It wasn't anything else. It was just my brain. Because my brain kept obstacles. It said that this is one obstacle, this is one obstacle. You don't have money. But honestly, now that I think of it in retrospect, did I need money to start my first startup? Honestly, not. Think of it. I was thinking that I need an industrial kitchen. For the first set of customers, I could have used my own kitchen. I used to think that I would need nutritionist. I could have been the first nutritionist. I used to think I need a marketing guy. I could have been the marketing guy. I used to think delivery guy. Hey, I'm the delivery guy. I could have done all of that all by myself. But at that time, I used to think, okay, it's not possible. I had that roadblock in my mind. And honestly, even today, if I sell my business and start this new thing, because I would want to work on this thing, it won't be all easy. Because starting a startup is definitely not easy. People will stop you. People will tell you that this does not make sense. Even after starting this thing, people sometimes tell me, "Itni sari degrees karne ke baad, did you only want to become a teacher?" And I'm 100% sure if I sell this startup and start my fintech thing, my health tech thing, the same thing they're going to tell me. Itni sari degrees karne ke baad, do you want to be a chef, a dietitian? So people are not going to see your vision. That's true. People are not going to see it. But would you be able to show them your vision? That's the most important thing. The single most important thing that you can take from this place is that you have to train this. You have to train your mind. And honestly, if you can train your mind, you can go ahead with anything in this world. If I had the courage to change everything, to think that whatever I'm doing is not important and the business that I'm doing is important, then you can also go ahead with it. With that, I would like to thank you for being such a patient audience and hopefully